Welcome to the Dianne and You Show, and I'm super excited, and I say that every time, but really and truly I have an amazing woman with me who has been here before, but we just have a discussion, and so much that you get to know about someone when you have some time to spend together. Brilliant, I love how brilliant mind fascinates me. But I want to thank you so much for coming back again, Carolyn.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, Diana.
Yes. You know what? Let's just dive into it. Just tell us a bit about yourself.
Where do I start?
There's so much to start.
I know, we just had that conversation. Well, when I talk about my book, talk about everything that I do, you start to think about your passion and purpose in life, and you think about what it is that you want to do. And I realized one day that everything that I have done and everything that I've committed in my education and volunteering has always driven me in the service of others. And how do I support others? How do I elevate them? How do I educate them? How do I learn to collaborate with them? Because I truly believe in every person there's an entrepreneurial spirit. And I truly believe that in every person there's a desire to be successful and do well in something. And I started to realize that, having my ECE as an early childhood educator was always about that with children. My psych degree, becoming a family mediator at one point in time in my life, supporting children that went through sexual abuse, and families that went through that with Children's Aid and the Talk Project. It all drove me in the same direction coming to where I am today. And then having my own children and having the different types of businesses that I've had, it all led up to me being a success coach for entrepreneurs. And the passion behind that for me was, it doesn't need to be as hard as we make it.
Absolutely.
There's a way for everyone to have the success they're looking for. And let's get rid of the garbage that's in our minds and in our way, preventing us from meeting the desires and dreams that we have and creating the kind of income that we're looking for.
And I applaud you for that, simply because, first of all, we never know what our past experience will lead you to our life's destiny. And we all lead towards service, so you know what your purpose is.
Yes.
Most people don't know what the purpose is, and that's what the problems entrepreneurs have, because they're not sure. They think it's all about the money. It's not about the money.
No, it's not.
Hey, I'm not disputing the money, okay?
Hey, we all need money. I have bills to pay too. Yeah.
But it's what you can do with that money.
Yeah.
What you can, the people you can help.
It is.
And the greatest feeling, and I haven't personally had it yet, to tell you the truth, to the extent I want it, is where you can write that check without thinking about anything and say, you know what, here,
let me help you out.
Let me help you out, take it forward. Because we have people who have paid forward to us. So our step is next, pay it forward, and I'm sure you've experienced that as well, whether it be in kind, or in cash, or in service, or support, but we've all been there.
I do that in everything I do, and I think people need to realize is that, if you even look at all the religions out there, one of the things that they all say is, first you take care of yourself. Same thing in an airplane. If it's about to crash, you put your mask on first and then help everybody else. So think about creating your business, creating your life, creating your purpose, even if it's supposed to be in a job. Just be happy about what you're doing. Find out what it is you want to do. Go after it. And be just very focused on that. And the more clarity, the more clarity you have on what it is you want, whether it's a job, a business, whether it's staying home with your kids, whatever it is, the more clarity that you create for yourself, the easier it is. Now keep in mind, when you take care of yourself and you create that kind of income, you can help whoever you want. I support 3 charities right now. And I keep getting asked, will you be on my board? Will you do this? Will you do that? I don't have any more time. I wish I did. But there's 3 charities that really touched my heart. Is it okay that I mention them? Okay, so I'm with Anna Lopes, the $1 Million Smiles, and I know she's been interviewed by you. I love her dearly. Jody Steinhauer with the Bargains Group, and she does Engage and Change.
And I've seen you there actually as well.
Yes, absolutely. I volunteer every single time. I may not have an abundance of money at this point in time to donate to everybody, but I
it's
do
not
my
about the money.
time. I'm there, and every year
know.
they beg me, will you come back? I need your energy. Your energy like sets people off and
And on
makes
behalf
the day.
of Jody and the bargaining group, which we've worked with as well, we've done work with them and supported them. Thank you for that, because every little bit helps.
Yes.
Every single one helps.
People
It's
don't
just a-
realize that.
Yeah.
Just volunteering, just
stuff in the bags.
yeah,
basically
and that's what I
does.
do. I like it down and dirty. I'm there with my
Yes.
group and my team, and we stuff the bags. We do whatever it takes to get it out. We do whatever it takes, and we do it with as much energy and
Love.
velocity and love that
And
we can.
embrace it. Absolutely.
And the other one is, and I support this with my event too, is the Canadian Centre for Abuse Awareness, AbuseHurts.ca.
Yeah, CCCA,
Yeah.
which I write for as well.
Yeah, and
do you
and
write for them
I
as
do,
well?
I do. Past
Amazing group.
experiences, yeah.
Amazing group.
And so it's time, it's referring people, it's connecting them with the right people, getting them on interviews so people really understand and know who they are. And then that's one of the things they know about me. Whatever it is I can. If it's sometimes it's money, sometimes it's time, sometimes it's a referral, sometimes it's a connection. I believe in what they do, and it's so needed to support so many people out there, and it touches my heart so much because each one of them are so slightly different, and the groups that they support, but they're all so connected. Like you've got the children, with Anna, you've got the adult women who are, regaining their lives after challenging experiences, and then you've got Jody with the homeless, and people don't realize in that area how devastating it is for people, and how many people who had very successful lives, made lots of money, ended up in the street. Like it's one paycheck away from any of us. And so that also created a level of gratefulness for me, and it reminds me every day in everything I do how lucky I am to have what I have. I have a home, I have running water, I have my husband who supports me, I have my beautiful children, and I have a business that I love doing and that pays me to give me the flexibility of what I want to do. And I'm so thankful and grateful for that. And that everything that I do in these charities reminds me how lucky I am, how grateful I am, and the things I've gone through in my life, and what it's taken me to get where I am today, and a level of appreciation that just makes me want to do so much for everyone else to have the same success.
I'm going to say this openly, and you know what? If we have to get emotional here, that's okay.
Don't make me cry.
No, you know what? And sometimes we need to have that out there because we're so passionate what you do. But on behalf of everybody out there, for what you've done and will be doing, I appreciate it and I embrace it and I applaud you for that.
Thank you so much.
She's getting me
You are
emotional.
going to make me emotional.
It's okay. But you know what?
Yeah.
We've been back and forth in a
Yeah.
sense. I think this morning we had a really good conversation.
Absolutely.
Had that conversation, and that's some of the things I think we miss because we're not here. There is no competition in anything.
No, I don't
There's
believe so.
collaboration, and sometimes again we bounce off ideas on people, or sometimes we say something. Don't know why I told you what I told you this morning, but the point is, as coaches, we both are coaches, but we're here to guide people.
Yes.
And people live through us.
Yeah.
They live through us, and we could just take it one step further for them
Yes.
and help them. Nobody's broken to be fixed in the first place, it's just a bit of guidance.
Yep. It's a confusion. You see, what happens in life is that every person has a family they grew up in, and there's no wrong or right. I'm not bad-mouthing anyone's family, but you have certain perceptions you're brought up with, and some of them are very, parents are very much like you have to have a job, and it's the only way of life, and entrepreneurship doesn't exist for them because they've never experienced it, they've never lived it. So how can they teach you about something they don't know? Yes. And then there's some parents who see it, it may not be for them, but they'll guide them to say, do what you want to do, right? So we all have different circumstances we're brought up in. It doesn't make anything right or wrong, but it's being open enough and the coachability enough that if you have a dream and you have something that you want to do, to leverage other people who've done it before. You see, there's so many people out there that if you ask them, they will help you, right? But come with not challenges, but questions. How were you able to do this? How did you have that success? What are some of the challenges that you went through to create the success that you did? And that's actually what, if I'm okay, what I do with my event, the I Am the Boss event.
Whatever you want.
Okay, well, I want to make sure.
This is your time.
The I Am the Boss event was my whole purpose around that. And again, my passion around that was, my business partner and I, Jackie Ranahan, was really to create an opportunity. Because we see the success of someone, the 20%. We see people success, the money they're making, the successful business. They have a $9 million corporation. Great. But you don't see the challenges they went through and the ladder they had to climb in themselves, the learning experiences, the things they had to overcome, their mindset shifts that needed to occur to create that. And part of my event the I Am the Boss event, which will happen May 11th, 2016, is really to uncover that for people. You see, the people on my stage really is to share not just the topic we're talking about, their story, but some of the character building experiences they've had to encounter to have the success they have today.
And I know something about you, that when you have an event, which I applaud, by the way, I may not cut it, but you interview your speakers.
I do.
And I believe that's something that's lacking in a lot of events, presentations.
I actually have to hear them speak. I speak to them over the phone. And it's not because I'm not trying to say I'm better than anyone, but I look
to give that value to
yes. And you know what? Some people are very, very knowledgeable, but they may not have the ability to stand on stage and really present their information on a level that represents them on who they truly are. And so it's important for me to...
That's a lot of people, actually.
Yeah. So in some cases, actually, what I do, if I find so many people that I like, I have an interview process in the morning. So what I do, if there's so many people I like and I can't fit them all in as keynotes, I bring them in and I interview them. And then there's some people that I meet that are just so brilliant, but they may not have the same impact as a keynote, but I want to bring them in anyway, and so I'll interview them as well. So it gives them a great opportunity to just share everything about them and to open up, and I help pull it out of them. Like I had one lady goes, "Oh, I'm not so comfortable, being that keynote." I says, "Okay, well, we'll interview you then, and we'll really get all the value that you have and bring it out to the audience so they can see what it is you do and how it is you got where you are." And that value that you share with people are so important because they need to hear that. Because the audience is like, well, if she can do it, I can do it. If she went through all of those challenges and still was able to create this successful company, then there's a chance for me. Because I see so many women walking around, well, I can't do that. I've heard moms say this. I've heard other women, well, she had help, she had money, she had this. And the funny thing is, there's more and more women out there, and the World Bank gives these stats. I recently talked to someone and said, you guys need to update your stats. But, they have amazing stats about how many women are actually buying businesses. More men are looking for women business partners, and more women are starting businesses, right? We have a different way to look at business. And, funny about my event, we talk about it being for women. Guys will say, well, are guys welcome? Guys are always welcome, and the smartest men attend.
We never let them.
No.
We don't dismiss it. Because again, at the end of the day, it's not about man or woman. It's about empowering and educating. But
absolutely.
If you look at the speakers, there's, you always hear people say there's a lack of women speakers.
It is, yes.
As well.
And trainers.
And trainers. However, in the business world, there's a lot of female women CEOs and business owners, which is really
it's shifting. It's shifting a lot. But the thing for me too is that I really have a lot of respect for men, and I think there's some really powerful men out there. The thing for me, and the reason I chose women to be most of my speakers. Now I do have men if they fit, and then the energies. Like I look at who they are and how they represent themselves. If there's a good fit, then I want them on stage, and I've had a few men on stage. But the reason I pick women speakers is because one, we have some amazingly successful women here in Toronto.
Absolutely.
Never mind Canada, Toronto.
Yes.
And bringing them on stage for me is women think differently. Right? So when you have a man training women, not to say he's not great and has a lot of value to give and we shouldn't hear him, but women approach things differently. Moms approach things differently.
That's a whole other conversation, Carolyn, about how the reception and the energy with the women connect with the women as opposed to
and even
men.
the thought process.
The thought process, but also the fact that sometimes, depends on who's sitting there, for whatever reason they may have had that experience, does not resonate with the male energy. So we're not disrespecting men, it's just that sometimes it's a safer space for them to feel comfortable, to be open-minded and say, okay, if she can do it, I can do it.
Right. It's harder to say if you're talking to a man saying if he can do it, I can do it. It's easier to say if she can do it.
If he can do it, I can do it. That's one of my taglines.
And absolutely, I agree with you. But not everyone.
Everybody's like
not
that.
everybody's like that. You and I are like that. We're in a different place in our life.
Yes.
I don't know if I could have said that, 15 years ago, but I can now. And so I have such a mixture of people in my audience, from very successful entrepreneurs to people who are just starting out, people with jobs who are like exploring the opportunity of having an entrepreneurial business or an opportunity. And then I have women who've been in business for 2 or 3 years and really want to take it to another level but aren't sure how. Right? That's where I highly recommend whether it's me or someone else, get a coach. Because you don't know what you don't know. You can't see what's missing. And having that person who's been there, done that, and can really be objective with no emotion, because, as my coach tells me all the time, there's no room for emotion in business, and I agree. So it's eliminating the emotion and then taking sort of the logical perspective. Does this make sense? And I always tell my clients, and I do this myself as well, if I'm going to do something, is it going to take me in the direction that I want to go? And is it bringing me to the path, right? So I bring them to the clarity of what it is they want. So anything that you choose to do, is it going to take me off the path for any length of time and take me away from what I'm doing? Or is it going to keep me on the path and get me there sooner and give me more education to bring me to where I want to go, or whatever it is?
The funny thing is, most people don't realize this because they don't go around talking about it. But let's take all the big kahunas or gurus, if you want to call them, whatever you want to call them. They all have coaches. They have mastermind group. Powerful that they pay
Multiple
so
coaches.
Yeah. So it's not, you always have to have someone above. You'll always be a student and you'll always be a teacher at the same time.
Right.
So we're teachers for those who are coming up, but we're also students for those who are here.
Absolutely.
So you always have to be learning, is what you're saying too as well. So please do, interview your coach.
Yeah.
And see, you know what, you can fire them and they can fire you. It's plain and simple. If it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate.
Right.
But take the step and do not go with a poor money mindset, please.
No.
And you
Listen,
have to be 100%.
I have clients, Diana, I have clients that when they started with me, they didn't have the money to pay me.
Yeah.
But
they did that.
the commitment was that they would have the success, and if they did what I asked them to do, and they were so committed and engaged with me that they did it, they're now making the money to pay me plus more. I actually got a text from one of my clients last night. She's so excited about the income she's now created.
Absolutely. It's commitment.
And that to me was just like a high. I'm like, yes, for her. Yay, I'm so excited. But we talk about coaches, you got to think about, Oprah Winfrey had coaches.
Of course.
Wayne Gretzky.
Of course.
One of the things, he had a coach to the day he left the ice. There was always somebody that was coaching him to get better, looking at what he wasn't doing or how he was doing it or how he could fine-tune it more. Tiger Woods has a coach.
Tony Robbins has a coach.
Tony Robbins has a coach.
Robert Kiyosaki has a coach.
Yeah, they all have mentors and coaches.
And
it's really something that helps you get better and elevate. Again, you can't see what you can't see. And so having somebody who can look at the bigger picture and outside of what you're doing, because regardless of who you are, when you're so involved in something, there is a level of emotional connection. So it's having somebody who doesn't have that emotional connection but has the objective perspective and can see outside of what you're looking at and really support you in getting there. And it's really about asking the right questions and finding out, what is it you want? What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? Where do you want to go with this? Okay, great. So what do we need to do to get there? And creating that strategy plan and understanding that it is going to evolve and change as you evolve and grow.
But the funny thing is, everything we're talking about and everything as a coach, we tell our clients, it's not thing that they never really, or maybe a few things they've heard before. It's not new. It's just maybe tweaked and polished a bit, a different.
Yeah. But it's also how to incorporate it.
Absolutely.
You would go and take all these courses, and I did. I was a course queen. I probably spent an additional $60,000 to $70,000.
You're a seminar junkie. She was a seminar junkie.
$60,000 to $70,000 on top of my post-education or my education on other courses I've taken. Right? To improve myself, to educate myself, to find out how to do things differently.
But you did what you had to do.
Right. But my point being in all of that is that what really the coach and everything else brought for me, and what I now bring for my clients is how to take all of that and now put it together.
Absolutely.
And make it work for you. Because it's great to have all this stuff and information, and it's great to have all this knowledge, but now how do you make it work for you? How do you bring it in? How do you clear the mindset? And how do you really create strategies and a whole process, like almost like a mini business plan you're creating.
But you're ready for it now. Your mindset is ready to put the package together.
Exactly.
And the program together. So it's.
But it took a year. It took a year.
Hey, I had my coaching. I had my NLP coach training so far. It got me to where I am, and without that, I wouldn't be sitting here to probably to a certain level and understand who I am, because you had to understand who you were.
It is true.
It worked for you at that point in time.
And what you want.
Know what you want.
That's the most. If anything, I can leave with anybody is understanding truly what you want. And often we think this is something that we want, but I'm going to ask you to dig a little. I'm going to ask you to go really look at that. If I left everybody with one thing, take a moment And if there was no money, no children, no husband, no challenges whatsoever, no excuses that you
The
could
perfect
possibly
world.
come up with,
The perfect world?
sure. Write down what your dream business or job would look like. With no, don't go, oh, well, but if it was this much, but if I want to do, I have to get this course. No, what does it look like? Because then I want you to go back and now you can build a plan to get there. And then is it a course you need to take? Because what happens is we randomly take all these courses, we spend all this money, we do all these things, and then realize that half that stuff isn't going to take us where we want to go. If you're going to spend the money, if you're going to do it, make sure it's taking you where you want to go and be clear on that direction. So if you can spend some time and dig and really put that little dream together and then go back and then start, this is what I do with my clients, and I support them in like building back that little strategy on how to reach that, whether it's in 3 years, 5 years, create a deadline when you want to accomplish it, and then really just build back from that. And even sometimes people are in businesses, and I've talked to people who are in businesses, they're happy, everything's going well, and then you really find out it's not what they love. They really don't want to do it after asking a few questions. But with a few tweaking and changing it up a little bit, all of a sudden it's their dream business or dream job. And that all of a sudden makes them happier. And I've watched my clients, and I'm like, trust me, when you have this clarity, everything will fall into place. People will start going, how do I help you? How do I help you? People, you're gonna have more people than you know what to do with, more doors opening for you.
Because we had this conversation before, saying, I was
Yes.
saying to you, is people find us now.
Yep.
Find us, they come in with some, again, clarity and shows and so many ideas and suggestions, and they pretty much walk in here.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool, and you keep coming.
That's great.
Let's talk about some of the collaborations. You are here on page 77 of this book. Tell us what this is about, please.
Well, this was a book that was put together by 12 women. Actually, Janae Eisenstrass put this book together with 12 women, really talking about passion and purpose, and really sharing their stories and talking about what it is that drove them, or how they created passion and purpose. And what does that mean? Because there's a big confusion of what that looks like. What is my passion? What is my purpose? How do I find that? A lot of times it's right in front of us and we don't see it. And that was what it was for me. So I shared a little bit about what that is and how I found it. Because as I said at the beginning, everything I was doing was leading me where I was supposed to be today, but I didn't realize it.
Of course.
I didn't understand. It wasn't literally till I decided to sit down and write this chapter 4 or 5 years ago where I realized, wait a minute, every single experience I've had in my life has led me to today.
You had said to me a year and a half ago, I'd be having shows and producing shows. I didn't like to be in front of behind a camera, much as in front of a camera. But it is, it takes you to what your purpose is.
Yes.
However, there's certain paths that you can say it opens up when you least expect, because that's part in your destiny.
Well, it's also like asking, right? It's like me coming to you and saying,
what I did. I did ask to say,
Yeah.
what, the next 6 months about media, but it was really about my book and radio. It wasn't really much about TV.
but you had clarity on what you wanted.
Because I got so frustrated at one point. I was sick, and I was like, the next 6 months about media. I don't care what it is. And lo and behold, it wasn't even like 3 months when the opportunity just came in, and I just texted Anthony. But this is not about me right now.
Yeah.
So anyway, your book. I know she didn't want to talk about this, but
Well, I am working on a book.
about everybody, so.
I am working on a book myself as well. Some other collaborations as well, but I am working on my own book.
Yes.
I'm working on the title, so I can't officially announce it because I
That's
haven't
okay.
decided it yet. So I'm working on that. But it's really going to be some stories from myself, from other people, experiences I've had in sort of the building of my business and the building of my passion and purpose. And some really fun anecdotes that I've encountered with people. But it's really about, women in business, women supporting business, women creating business. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's not going to be a long book because
No.
I'm not long when it comes to writing, but I'm committed to it being entertaining. I'm committed to being inspiring and educational.
You have to say it this way,
Yes.
okay? Empowering, educating, and entertaining. This is
Yeah.
that's exactly how I live my life. Empowering, educating, and entertaining. That's
Mine's a little different. It's education, education, elevation, and collaboration.
Absolutely.
And really, honestly, my goal in life is how many women can I elevate? How many women can I, and men, but for me it's women, how many people can I help them reach their dreams? And if I'm going to leave a legacy for my family, for myself, is that, I want to be. I'd love
When
to be
you
known.
leave your
When I
legacy.
leave my legacy.
See?
When I leave my legacy, it's really about, how many women and men have I been able to help to have the success and
Isn't
the
that the
desires they
coolest
wanted.
feeling?
It is. And the coolest feeling of all is when my little girl realized what I was doing. She's 7 years old. And at 5, she said to me, and this is where I'm going to get teary-eyed, Mommy, I want to be just like you. I want to be an entrepreneur. At 5 years old, she's saying the word entrepreneur. She goes, when I'm done school, I'm taking over your business. And
That is so cool.
my 3-year-old at the time, heard that and said, Mom, me too. We're going to be partners, her and I. And I thought, oh my God, look what I have done. And that, to
Isn't
me...
that worth it? Everything that you're doing?
And honestly, if they choose to have a job or they choose to have a business, I'll back them 1,000%. But the fact that they realize it's an opportunity and an option, and growing up for me, I didn't realize being an entrepreneur was even an option for me. I had no concept. I was told to get a job and that's all I'd ever be good at. And that's basically where I should stick to something that I know, because I'll never have success anywhere else. I should never be a speaker. I should never be a presenter. I should never train. I shouldn't do any of the things I'm doing now. Thank God I didn't listen.
I've known you for a couple of years now, like I said, in passing and so forth, and I've seen you come through, and you've had challenges, and I know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've had challenges too, but I know the moments when you had the challenges to a certain extent, we would talk and say, we all struggle, we all do so many things.
Absolutely.
But it's just so much out there for us.
Yeah.
That's time it comes to us, so we can do what we need to do
Yes.
to help others. So, hey, universe, no, just bring it on.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And people don't understand that. It doesn't happen overnight. It
No.
just does not happen overnight.
I wish there was a switch, or there was some easy anecdote
Yeah,
that
but
I
then we
could
wouldn't
tell
appreciate
you.
it.
True, right?
It would be too easy, because the life lessons, I mean, when you look at some of the brilliant people out there, Andrew Carnegie, the Napoleon Hill, all of them, and everybody, it didn't happen overnight. They went through challenges, Jack Ma, all these guys I admire, they went through what they had to go through when you hear the stories. So one thing, it's something, because you have to be tested, because you can't handle this, you can't handle the big picture.
That's right.
Because when it rains, it pours.
That's right. So it's literally prepping you to be great. And so if you want to be great, then take on the challenges and be as open as you can. The thing is, we close up and we think we have the answers and we try to force it, we try to control it. Hey, I'm a control freak. I'm atypical. So I get it. But it's really learning how to just go, okay, wait a minute, take a deep breath, let it go, and let's just see where this goes, and let me be open to a conversation and just receive it. And that's a big challenge. And one of my mentors said something to me that sticks with me, and Byron Nelson is one of my mentors, and he said...
And Byron is another story.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And kudos to you. I appreciate everything you've done for us. Seriously, as well, on a serious note, because he probably would see this.
Oh, good. He's an amazing man, and he really does give with his heart. And he said so many things to me that stuck. But one of the things I'd like to share today is that, he says he still takes courses.
Yes,
and he's a very successful person. He has been connected with some Anthony Robbins, Branson.
And tomorrow's his birthday.
And tomorrow's his birthday on the 15th. Yes, it's on my calendar to send him a text and wish him happy birthday. But he said, I've taken courses and I probably could teach 96. He goes, no, I can teach 96% of that course. And I know it inside and out, and probably better than the person that's teaching it. But I'm paying for the 4% I don't have.
I heard that too.
Yeah. So the reality is that, yes, you may be at someone's event or someone speaking and you think you know most of it, which is great, because I'm in a situation like that as well. But it touched my heart when he said that, because you're right. If we close ourselves down, it's that 4% that could literally move the comma in your paycheck.
I'll tell you something, and people may not understand this, and it really doesn't make a difference to me if they do, they don't. In my personal life, when I go to an event, like we went to Randy's event, I don't go there to network per se. I was there to booth everything. But one of the things I do is, if I go there, and you probably have seen me, I'm very at the back, but I don't even want to go to the washroom because I don't know what I'm going to miss. But it's true, right?
Right, yeah. I don't like to miss anything either.
No, but it's there for me. So if I come back with 1 or 2 people cards, it's fine with me. But I was there for a reason.
Yeah.
And the reason is to learn. And I guess when I have my moment, I network and people come to us and so forth. But really and truly, I'm there to, again, the 4% or the 10% or the 100%. I don't
Whatever
know.
it is, yeah.
Whatever it is. So when people keep saying, I go to these book events and so forth, people saying, and talking. But I stay very quiet in my seat. And absorb whatever I can absorb.
Exactly.
You know, not the outside and so forth and so on. That's not what it is.
No.
That's what I do.
Yeah. And you know what, these opportunities that you have when you're going to events and networking and getting yourself out there and really connecting with people, and not just connecting with who you think you're supposed to connect. We make prejudgments of people, which we really shouldn't. And a quick example.
We're not here to judge.
A quick example of this is I walked into a business I was involved in, walked into an office, and there was a young man standing there, and he was wearing these, first of all, like sweat socks up to the calf with open toe sandals, which to me is like a faux pas fashion, right? Fashion faux pas, don't do that. Hawaiian pants that went down to here, this Hawaiian shirt, nothing matched. And he's got this young lady on his arm who's also wearing a very short mini skirt, high heels, and a tiny little top. And I brushed them off, thinking, what are they doing here? Like, really? And this was many years ago. And my business partner sat down and said, yeah, he's worth about $6 million. I'm like, wow, shame on you, right? Like, shame on you for thinking that. But it was a huge learning experience for me to realize you have no idea who's sitting in that seat. Because here's the deal. You've got people with those Armani suits on, and they've got their little PDA, and they're doing their things here, and they don't have a penny to their name. They don't know anything that they're doing, and they have a great talk, but they have no desire.
Did you know that in 2009 that identity theft was officially declared the crime of the 21st century? How do you avoid confrontation between Mrs. Fraud and you? By arming yourself with knowledge and being aware of who and what Mrs. Fraud really is. Mrs. Fraud and You is your guidebook to helping you understand and become aware of the serious, devastating threat that lies around every corner. Every year, thousands of people's lives are destroyed by the ruthless tactics of scam artists like Mrs. Fraud, and you are her constant target. Familiarize yourself with the schemes and scams that can wreak devastation on your dreams and lifelong plans. Protect yourself, your business, your children, and your elders. The only difference between being a victim and a victor is the preventive measures you choose to take. Be prepared for when Mrs. Ford comes knocking. When it comes to Mrs. Ford and you, knowledge is power. The choice is yours. Would you be the victim or the victim? Reserve your copy today. And we're back with Carolyn Dickinson. And Carolyn, it's been amazing. I love this conversation. It's not often I get to have a conversation like this with someone.
Yeah, this
on that
great.
level.
Yeah.
On that level. Mm-hmm. We got so much more to talk about, you know, and we're just going to throw it out there. I'm going to put you on the spot. Well, I kind of told her before. But
little warning.
A little warning. Give us some tips, so do's and don'ts. So however you want to package it and present it, you know, some of the top 5 or 10 challenges you see and the successes. However you want to do it, this is your moment. Just let's talk about those things.
Okay, sounds
and address
great.
some of those issues.
So,
because I'm learning a lot here too as well.
oh, good.
That's
awesome. Thank you. You know, there's some things that you want to think about as an entrepreneur. I think as an entrepreneur, you need to think differently. And even as those who are already existing as entrepreneurs, and some of the lessons that I've learned is, you know, one of the things that we do is we do this networking thing, and we go out, we network with people, and we have all these meetings. I would highly recommend, if you're not already doing so, to shift from having meetings with people to phone calls. Mm-hmm. I now have 15-minute phone calls. Because you know, as much as I've met you and maybe we've chatted and there's a potential connection, I want to get to know you a little bit more. And let's do that over the phone, because I want to value your time, but value my time as well. Because I'm here to build a business. I'm here to, you know, I have a very specific focused goal of where I want to go as a speaker and a coach. And, you know, it's important for me that I want to make sure there's a needed connection here for us to meet.
But you're taking your time back and controlling your time.
Absolutely.
Because I just did that too as well on Facebook. I went out there and said, prove to me why we should talk.
Yeah.
Prove to me why, you know, I should have a show with you. Prove to me, because again, and it was a learning curve for me as well.
Yeah.
And stop giving up my power, because that was it.
Yeah.
I had enough. I've cleaned up a couple of people, this, so forth in my life, and say, I'm reclaiming my power and my time and and money and energy.
Exactly, money and energy too, because you want to think about is that you're not, if you worked for a corporation and became an entrepreneur, you no longer have that budget over here to play with on the level that you did. Maybe you have some, but you want to value that, right? So every time that you have to leave your office and you have to drive somewhere to meet with somebody and you have a coffee and you sit there for an hour and a half and then you have to drive back, that's time away from actually building your business. That's why I made them
come here.
Yeah.
I do.
But you have an opportunity for that. Not everybody does. They may work from their home office and they don't want to bring people there.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. So it's really about, finding out the value for the two of you and does it make sense to meet? Because maybe the conversation over the phone will establish that or establish where the potential connection can go. Because I get asked now to do a lot of things and I get calls, will you do this? Will you look at my product? Will you join my business?
Welcome to our world.
And the other thing is I've been my past life in the direct marketing industry for 16 years. I still get phone calls asking me, people offering to position me. So I get down like, listen, what are you looking at? Let's get down to the bare basics. What is this conversation all about? Let's just be straight. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time.
I've done that so many times.
And I'm not saying when you're first starting out you want to talk like that, but I know the first sentence that's said to me if they're in the direct marketing industry right away. I've been doing it for a long time. Other opportunities arise when it could be with women. They could be a potential speaker for me. They could be someone that I want to collaborate with. They could be somebody but I want to know more about them before I create that meeting. And I find when I do that, the funny thing is people really respect that too, because it's not just my time and value, it's theirs. So, really manage your time because that's part of us being really busy and actually not doing anything that's making us money. And a lot of people do that and they don't realize it when you start to break it down. The other thing is track as an entrepreneur, how much money you're making and how much money you're spending. I know we think we do, but really I do this now on a regular basis, but I sit down and I start to track out what my expenses are per month and how much money is actually coming in. Because we start to think, oh, it's this amount. But when you start to really break it down and go, well, at the end of the day, when I pay everything I'm supposed to pay, this is what's left.
It's funny, and we're going to go a little bit spiritual here for a moment. And the universe does keep track of that.
It does.
And that's where
it doesn't give you more than you can handle. I know that sounds so weird to some people, but it really
weird to me.
I get it, but I'm thinking about all the people in the audience that might be listening. Is it to some people it's like, well, that's foo-foo?
It's a difficult task.
It is. Because we have to then admit
it's reality.
Yes, we have to admit then and recognize truly what it is that there's so many women that I've met who have successful businesses now, and one of them was one of my speakers, and she openly admitted that, when she first started her business, she thought she was making money and things were going well, and her husband looked at her books and said, you're in the red.
And that's a good thing because to recognize it, but even if you pay yourself $1, the point is you're paying yourself. Because I actually was thinking about that last night. It's funny you should be talking about that. Saying even if you pay yourself $1, the fact that the universe knows that you're paying yourself, right to check out. It doesn't matter.
Right.
The point is, it's the action.
Yeah. Well, for money to flow, it has to go in and out.
Well, it's a flow of energy.
Yeah.
And actually, if it goes out, it comes
do you know how many
back
times that was said to me too, Dianne? I have to openly admit how many times that was said to me before I truly got it. Like about 5 years ago, it finally went, boom, okay, I get it. And it's something we all think that we know, but we don't. Because then all of a sudden, we'll find the money to buy that purse or that new pair of jeans, but we won't find the money to invest in our business that may be a little bit more than we actually have. But we find it, and it'll take our business and also move that comma, a couple zeros over in our paycheck.
I want to address what you just said there for a moment. Talking about the dress and the shoes and the whatever. The point is, we have to realize where there's a want and there's a need.
Yes.
There's a huge difference. Let's give your interpretation of what that is, the want and the need. Because that's huge. That's one of the key things, how we spend our money.
It is. And I've been in that trap before too, right? Yes,
We've all been in a shopping channel, okay?
Yeah. The thing is, yes, you need to look professional in business. So, and I did this with one of my clients where I literally, and I don't normally do this, but she was one of my very first clients. Anyways, I will charge for this, but I went to her house and I said, okay, you want to have a particular image. She goes, well, I don't have the money. I said, okay, yeah, you do. Let's go to your closet. So I emptied her closet. I threw everything out that didn't suit the image she wanted.
She's an image consultant now.
Well,
you have to be everything.
You have to be a little bit of everything when you're in business,
yeah.
because if you're trying to portray yourself to a certain group of people, you need to have a level of matching. Mm-hmm. I always tell people, listen, at the beginning, you have to have a certain look. You have to have a certain image. Once you've established yourself, like a Richard Branson, I mean, he's jeans, a white t-shirt, deck shoes, and a blazer. But you know what? He's worth billions. So he can do whatever he wants. When you get to that point of being a millionaire, do whatever you want. In the meantime, until people know who you are and what you have to offer and your level of expertise, you do need to have a certain image. And it is highly important. It doesn't have to be designer clothing. It's not about that. It's just looking put together. So I had her start putting makeup on every day. She changed her hair. She started wearing outfits. And I said, use what you have. Go to Smart Sat, go to Reitman's, buy a nice pair of pants and a jacket that match. It can cost you $100.
Go to the thrift shops and so forth.
Absolutely. And there's some
people.
There's really nice thrift shops now that have designer stuff.
Even Value Village, for God's sake. A lot of people don't realize about celebrities and stylists. They all go to thrift shops.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't believe. They don't know where you don't know the clothes is coming from.
Well, the thing is that sometimes you'll find that piece. I'm not going to say you're going to go in and you're going to find everything. You have to
buy unique piece. Get unique pieces,
something different. But it also has to suit the image you're trying to portray. Yeah. So if you're trying to hit all the business women, you kind of need to look a little bit like a businesswoman, right? Again, does not have to be an Armani suit, but wear a jacket and pants that match. Wear a nice top underneath. If you don't have expensive button-down tops, fine. Wear something that looks expensive but maybe cost you $15, right? There's a lot of places you can go. There's sales. There's always sales. I look for the sales. I love my 40, 50, 60% off.
Hello.
I'm in for my kids' clothes, for my clothes. Find value, but put your pieces together. And there's a lot of things you can go online and do. I think I'm actually going to start doing that. I think I'm actually going to create a video on how to put some pieces together and get some expert people to kind of share with it. Because I think it's so important for entrepreneurs to understand that. I used to have to, and it took a lot for me to get back into suits because I worked in corporate for many, many years as well, another past life of mine. And I had to wear suits every day. And I had to have a professional persona around me all the time. So closed shoes, I didn't wear open shoes into the office. I had suits, pants, skirts, everything. I was always completely put together. After being a stay-at-home mom and running my business from home, I'm like, I don't need to do that anymore. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, yes I do. So I had to shift back again. It is. And it's also the perception people have because, people need to see you as where they want to be. And so it's important to have that perception, right? Because again, you have that 30-second window of really creating someone to have a perception or an idea or concept of you or who you are, and you hope it grows from there. So it's also including now your mindset. See, here's the thing: is people walk into an event with a mindset. So second tip, mindset. Create an intention of what you want to do at that event, because when you walk in with a mindset, no one's going to talk to me, no one really wants me, I don't have value, and we may not openly admit that we're thinking this to people, but here's what happens is
you're limiting yourself right there and then.
Yeah,
and you're blocking everything else.
Right. So what happens literally is that when you think it, you physically react to it, and it's an impossibility not to. If you think you're hiding it, you're sadly mistaken.
No,
okay,
it
because
shows up.
People may not know what you're thinking; they can feel it, and so you literally are like a magnet that's pushing everybody away. The opposite. So if you want to attract people, have the mindset is, I am excited, I'm open to meeting the right people, send me the people that I can help and that can help me and that I can get to know and build a business, whatever it is that you want to accomplish that day. If you're looking for, new members, you're looking for new customers, create that intention in your head. I sometimes do it in the car. I create an intention before I came here.
So let me ask you this. Some people believe, because we've been told if we talk to ourselves, self-talk, we're crazy. It's not right. There's something wrong with us.
Then I'm insane.
It's okay to talk to yourself. We talk to ourselves.
It's when you start answering yourselves and having full-on conversations that maybe you need to worry a little bit.
But it's okay to have those.
But it is.
Those affirmations and declare it, because again, you set yourself, and I have a sign I put on the door. You probably didn't see the sign when you came in the door. It says, one day I just came in and I was like, that was it. It says, if you have a positive attitude, I put a little picture, and I put a smiley face with a hand, but I guess that's the one with the hand. If not, if you don't have that, there's a garbage bin with a garbage bag. It's on the front door. When you're walking out, look at it.
I love it.
And it's funny thing is, when Anthony spoke to me that morning, I was telling him, he started to laugh because he said I was thinking about the similar thing.
Yeah.
And it's really about a positive attitude. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying sometimes I have my moments, okay? But it is what it is. Because I had to change up the energy in here.
And I think you said that, Diana. You hit it. We all have our days. Anthony Robbins has his days.
We're not perfect.
The difference is, who you are and the experiences in your life aren't going to change, in the sense that you're going to have character building experiences, you're going to have losses, you're going to have all these things. The difference between non-successful people, we'll just say that, to really successful people, they just get over the stuff faster. They've created strategies and techniques to get over it and not let it take them out of the game for any length of time. So it's nanoseconds, right? So, I mean, think about it. Anthony Robbins, I mean, would he not have a loss in his family? Would that not affect him? You know, Byron Nelson, I mean, I know he's had losses in his life, and I know it's affected him. But they've created strategies and techniques to not let it take themselves out of the game. You still need to mourn, you still need to feel it, still need to experience it, but it doesn't take you out of the game and stop you. And that's what we have to learn, how not to let that happen. Life is a choice. Everything that we do is a choice.
Well, it's funny you say that because, you know, sometimes there's certain things, like I said, there's a lot of cleanup happening with me as well. Because, again, there's a lot of things coming here, so I got to keep cleansing around me and so forth.
Absolutely.
But it was a choice. Okay, do I want to reply to that email or not?
Yeah.
If not, just forget it. Do I need to take that phone call? You know what? It can wait. And that's one of the things now. It's a hard decision, but it was taking back my power and saying I have control of what I want to do. I'm not going to have anybody bother me anymore. I'm not going to let that drain me.
It's also how you reply too, I think.
Absolutely.
You know, like if you've got somebody who's really trying to get you to do something,
No, I understand that.
whatever
Some
it is,
people who are
but
just wasting your time.
Then you say, you know what? Thank you so much. I really appreciate for you connecting with me. I'm very focused on what I'm doing right now. This is it. Unfortunately, what you are offering isn't in line with me. So again, I really appreciate that you connected with me. I wish you all the best in what you're doing, and all the success that you're looking for. And you know, take care of yourself.
You know what I usually
end it.
You know what I usually say to some people when they come in? It's okay. You do know this is not the reason why you came here. Seriously. And that's usually what it is.
Well, it's the same with coaching.
Exactly.
What they think they're coming to coaching for, what they actually get coached on is often quite different.
It's not even coaching. It's the fact that they want to connect with some MLM or some business opportunity, and I watch them in the face and say, listen, I don't really have time, but you know this is not why you're here.
Yeah.
And then having a conversation with them, then you realize, oh, that's really why they're here. They end up having a show, they wanted to visit, they wanted something.
Yeah.
But that was just the spark for them to connect.
Yeah.
But half the time, that's not what it is.
Right. Well, that's the thing is that, again, we come back to the clarity. We keep coming back to that, the importance of that. And sometimes it takes time, and it's meeting those different people that help spark that clarity, or getting that support to figure out what that looks like for you. You know, and that's the tip is really sitting down. We talked about earlier, you know, finding that goal that you want. So I guess that's tip number 3.
It's okay.
Finding that goal.
You can number it how you want.
Yeah, I'm like thinking in my head. So,
it's okay.
So this is one you should write down. You know, finding that passion that you have, writing it down with no limitations, no anything, and then working back from it, right? And this is what a coach should also help you with. But you create that dream with no limitations, and then go back. And then work from there. So what do I need to accomplish if I want to do this in 3 years, 5 years, whatever your goal is, depending on how big the dream is, and how do I create things in the meantime? And the thing is, just be open, because as you're creating, and even though you have a plan, some amazing things may come your way that takes you to another level.
I was just going to say that, you know,
be open.
Be open to any opportunity that walks in. You know, Jack Ma had said, I love this man, says, you know, the possibility of doing, well, I'm going to say it wrong right now because my brain is there, but it's pretty much, if you don't take the steps to do what you do, there's no possibility of hope.
Yeah.
You have to do it. Embrace any opportunity that comes along.
So let me categorize that then, because we talked about that before too.
Yeah.
Is embrace it in a conversation and a phone call. Make sure it is taking you where you want to go, because it's what I call the low-hanging fruit, or the sparklies. So when people get thrown tons of opportunities and it looks great and it looks like it's going to make me a lot of money, but then I want you to sit back and I want you to go, okay, to reach this particular goal, how many hours is it going to take me per day? And how much is it going to take me away from doing what I need to do? Because what happens is when that happens and that low-hanging fruit comes, or that little sparkly or shiny, or that diamond ring shows up there, whatever you want to call it, is that it can literally take you off your path, right?
Well, again,
so you want to manage that as well.
And that's why you need a coach there, because I'm talking about, in the sense that there's certain business opportunities will come away where we'll put you, for example, put us into radio and to TV
Exactly.
and so forth. That's what I'm talking about.
So be open for a conversation.
Open for a conversation. And if you're not sure, but make sure if you're going to be doing a project like this, like what we do, you have the right people and business partners to do it. Because again, I mean, I have been so fortunate, I keep saying that, to have Anthony in my life doing this with me. Because he's a genius behind this part of it.
Behind the camera over there.
Behind the
Mr.
camera.
Anthony.
But,
we're so grateful for Anthony.
and I cannot do this without him.
No, you
and on
can't.
the other side, he cannot do this without me. Although he can. But for me, I can with him on the technical side of it.
Right.
So when you know exactly what it is you need to know in your life purpose, or what your destiny is, or to serve, it will fall into place, and you'll have a few little hiccups and thorns you have to deal with.
Well, it's like Edison, right? They didn't believe that light was possible, and he did, and he just kept trying and trying and trying.
Yeah, look how much light we are right
Thank
now.
God, right? Or we'd be still in darkness with candles.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
you have to believe in the possibility, and I think, we have a misconception around making mistakes. I know I did for years, that make a mistake, or whatever you want to call it, running into an experience that you realize isn't the solution, if you want to call it that, is just continuing to look for the solution. Don't let it stop you in your tracks when that happens, because I got taught a new word recently, and we say this as kids. And when something that you try doesn't necessarily work out in the way you thought it was going to be, or you forgot to do something, instead of beating yourself up about it, instead of taking yourself out of the game for any length of time because, I should have known that, or I should know better, go, oops, okay, what do I need to do to rectify the situation?
Well, the thing
Get the mindset of being in solution rather than, oh my God, what a big mistake I made.
Well, first of all, there's no mistakes, there's no failures, there's no disappointments, there's no lessons to learn to take you to the next level.
Yes.
But even if you knew what to do and you still didn't do it, it doesn't make a difference.
Exactly.
So
being in action. So there's
in action, and
it's
again,
really important to be in action, no matter what. And listen, I tell people, and I tell my clients this as well. Some of the days I really don't want to make a call or pick up the phone, and I'm having like the worst day. Maybe the mindset is off, or I'm not feeling good, or I have a wicked headache, and I'm like, okay, shake it off, go make the call. And literally, those are the ones I've signed people up on the spot.
Well, it's funny.
You never know.
Well, you were
right?
here this morning when the phone rang, because I typically don't answer the phone, let it go to voicemail, because there's so many people come in. And this young man, we have an appointment with him tomorrow, but then he talks about when he saw my book when he was here about the fraud, and he's a victim of romance scam, and he's gone to talk about it.
Yeah.
So we put it. So if I didn't pick it up, we would have a conversation at some point in time. But right then we booked it.
Yeah.
So again, I've met people in my life who I thought they were fraudsters and so forth, and I just had an intuition to actually reply back to them, which sometimes I don't do. And they happen to be a dramatic, huge blessing in my life. Only because that day, for some God known reason, I decided to reply back or pick up the phone.
Yeah. So it's like you never know. And it's, again, be
Trust
careful
your
with
gut instinct too as well.
Yes, start paying attention to it, because it really does guide you. You can call it whatever you want, whatever word you choose, but we all have a level of what we want to call intuition. The fact is we just don't use it, we don't trust it.
We don't understand it because we've never been taught to understand it.
We aren't really. But it's a feeling, and the thing is, just don't ignore your feelings, and I say you don't have to make decisions too. Here's another thing: when people offer you opportunities in life, you don't have to, this can help you, we do this together and it'll get you further. Well, go back and think about it. You do not have to answer, and if that person wants you to answer at that moment, you know what? Then you need to question, do you want to do business with this person? And just say, this is a fantastic idea. Please allow me to go and sort of mull it over and let me get back to you. And set a time when you're going to get back to that person. Like I literally will take out my calendar and say, okay, let's do a follow-up call, whether it's him or me or whatever. And so that gives us a time in which to consider, do our information, sit back, and really look into, does this make sense for me right now? Because I promise you this, opportunity is around the corner all the time. So just because you said no to this one doesn't mean you've lost out. But say no because it doesn't make sense for you right now. So you have a question for me?
Yes. How do you feel about when, especially in the MLM companies, someone says to you, you just have to sign up, you don't really have to do anything. You know what? It's fine. Oh my girl, cringe. You setting up a person for failure.
Yes, you are.
Nothing comes for free, for goodness sake.
Nothing. In the direct marketing industry, unfortunately, some people have been taught to have that conversation. And I'm not saying you don't have a conversation. We're saying here's an opportunity to register or be involved. But it's really important to lay some solid ground rules down, because the direct marketing industry is no different from a business. It's actually,
you gotta work your butts off.
It's actually been one of the longest standing businesses out there, and was started with, most people don't even realize this, with Avon. And it was started by a gentleman who literally used to do door-to-door sales and observed the fact that there was these amazing moms at home that could sell stuff from home, and created Avon, right? And then it evolved from there. And that's the short and dirty of it. You can look it up. But the reality of it is that that industry has created the most millionaires in the world. It is a very great industry. Is there some challenges in that industry? Yes. Is there some people who aren't definitely not honest in that industry? Yes, but that's no different from any other industry, right? Even being in the corporate world in Bell, you're going to have people that, managers who don't support you to move forward because they're intimidated by you and they don't want you to move forward, because then you might take their job, right? So they do everything to keep you down. So there are people like that everywhere, any company, any industry, unfortunately. It is important to understand the direct marketing industry. It's a business. You have to work it, and you have to have that same mindset as a business. So as much as you work it, even though you're
stay.
Exactly, you are getting a business in a box, in the sense that you don't have to worry about creating the training and the strategies in most cases. You've got a solid structure in which to work with in most cases. And so what it is to work with that structure and build it. But it still needs to take your time. You still need to have a commitment. If you work at part-time, you're going to make part-time money. If you work at full-time, you're going to make full-time money, right? It really is what it is you're committed to, what you want to create financially. And then asking the questions of the people that are in the business longer than you, whether it's a person above you or someone else, find out. I want to accomplish this much money per month. What exactly is it I require to do? Who do I have to talk to? How many people? What kind of leaders do I need to have? Is it retail? What is it I need to do? And how many people do I need to engage with or leverage to create that kind of income on a regular basis per month? Find out. Ask the question, right? And like the product, have a connection with it. It's kind of important.
You gotta believe in it.
Yeah, you gotta believe in what it is that you're promoting and selling. And there's no problem too with, I like the industry, but I don't necessarily like this company. And be honest with people. Listen, I'm looking at multiple companies right now. I'm doing my homework. So I'm trying to get as much information as I can to decide where I want to go. Be straight up with people.
Give them a choice. Give them a choice.
Yeah.
But no, Carolyn, I would love for you. This is your moment. Your moment to look out there and just send a message or whatever it is you want to say to your heart's desire. And, be who you are and just speak to everyone or your audience out there. And everyone who's been listening to us this morning in this fabulous conversation we've been having that we could talk all day about.
I know. It really could.
Yes.
If I have to leave you with one message, is realize that every single one of you, and I'm going to get emotional, I apologize, but I am so passionate about this. Every single one of you has something inside of you, something very, very special. Some of you are letting it out, some of you are holding it in. But if you have a desire, if you want to do something, go after it. Life is too short. We do not know when our time is coming, but it is at some point. So please go after what you want. Find from other people. Go to people who've had the experience. Interview people, inquire, find the right support systems, hire a coach, whatever it is. But we all have a possibility to have success. Success is in every single one of us. I don't care who you are, what your background is, what experiences you have. If you heard all of mine, I'd blow your mind. But the reality is, if you want it, it's there for you. You need the desire, and the rest will come in play for you. Ask questions, ask for support, have the success you're looking for. Please don't stay in back of the bleachers and just want everybody else to have success. You deserve it as well. You deserve to have a platform. You deserve to have a place for you to feel passionate and to have the success that you're looking for. You deserve it.
Thank you. After that, what is there left for me to say? I want to thank you so much, Carolyn, for being here and having this, very open conversation with us and our audience as well.
It's my pleasure.
And there's so much more to talk about. And it was really a pleasure having this conversation, this level, where we can actually have it. Because not everyone can understand what we're saying here. Mm-hmm. But I want people to know to be open-minded. And Ask questions. Pick up the phone. Find someone. Interview a coach. And if you don't know who's a coach, ask someone who they work with as a referral. It could be Carolyn, it could be myself, it could be Anthony, it could be anyone. But the point is have someone. And you'll filter through a couple of them to see who resonates with you. And I've done that. Carolyn has done that. We're not perfect.
No.
We've had our challenges. We've been tested like there's no tomorrow. Why? Because we're growing. We're willing to be empowered. We're willing to learn. And we're going to have fun at it. I guarantee you that. But I want to say to everyone, please, 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 live your life's passion. Understand what it is. Get some clarity, as Carolyn said. I'm just going to echo everything she said. But until next time on the Dianne Show, be blessed and protect yourself. Thank you.